Most people believe they are living the life they actually chose. A 2023 Gallup survey of over 150,000 adults across 140 countries found that 59% of respondents felt their daily life did not reflect their real priorities, that what they were spending their time on and what they actually valued were two different things. But here is the thing. The gap between the life you are living and the life you intended to live is not a character flaw. It is a design flaw. And design flaws can be corrected. Today I am breaking down the exact thinking that separates the people who correct that gap from the people who carry it for the rest of their lives. The number most people use to measure whether their life is on track is their age. You are 28. And you compare yourself to where you thought you would be at 28. You are 35, and you measure yourself against what 35 was supposed to look like. You are 42, and you carry a quiet, persistent sense that the version of your life you imagined has not arrived. Age measures time elapsed. It says nothing about direction, nothing about what you have built, nothing about whether the path you are on leads anywhere you actually want to go. A Stanford study published in 2020 found that people who measured progress by age-based social milestones reported significantly lower life satisfaction than those who measured progress by personal momentum and alignment with their own values. That timeline was never yours. And it is the first thing worth rethinking. Research from the British Journal of Psychology formally identified what psychologists call the quarter-life crisis, a period of identity questioning and career uncertainty that affects between 75 and 86% of young adults. 3 out of 4 people, not a minority, not the ones who failed. 3 out of 4 people reach a point where they look at the life they are building and feel a deep, unresolved question underneath it. Picture a 27-year-old woman, good degree, stable job, reasonable apartment. From the outside, everything is on track. And yet at 11 p.m., when the noise has stopped, she feels a low-level dissatisfaction she cannot quite name. Not depression, just a persistent sense that this is not quite it. That feeling is not a sign that something is wrong with her. It is the most reliable signal available that she has been building a life around other people's definitions of success without examining her own. The feeling is information. The question is whether she will treat it as a problem to suppress or a signal to understand. The second threshold does not announce itself as a crisis. It arrives as a decision you almost do not make. The job offer you do not apply for, the conversation you pull back from, the creative project you quietly abandon. A 2019 study found that adults who consistently prioritized external stability over personal authenticity showed higher rates of deferred life syndrome, a pattern where the real life, the wanted life, is perpetually positioned one decision ahead of the current one. When I am more financially stable. When the kids are older. When the timing is better. The timing never becomes right on its own. What actually happens is that the window quietly closes, and the person who almost made the decision carries a weight that is hard to describe but impossible to ignore. A 44-year-old man who spent his 30s in a career he knew by year 3 was not what he wanted. He stayed because of the mortgage, the stability, because every year the cost of leaving felt higher. By 44, the gap between his daily life and his internal sense of who he was had become the defining quiet of his existence. He is not a cautionary tale. He is the median. Here is the mechanism most motivational content never reaches. Most people try to change their life from the outside in. They change their circumstances, hoping their identity will follow. They get the new job, move to the new city, start the new relationship, and wait for the internal shift. It rarely works. Because identity does not follow circumstance. Circumstance follows identity. A landmark 2010 study found that approximately 43% of daily human behavior is habitual, running on automatic, driven by an identity formed years ago. If that identity has not shifted, Your habitual behaviors will recreate the same patterns inside new circumstances within months. Two people go through the same job loss. The first experiences it as evidence, confirming a story that stability is fragile for people like them. They rebuild conservatively. The second experiences it as information about what they do not want to build again. They rebuild differently, not because they are braver, because the story they carry allows for a different interpretation of the same event, same external event, two entirely different trajectories. The story you carry about yourself right now is the architecture of your future choices. Bronnie Ware, a palliative care nurse in Australia, documented the most common regrets of people in their final weeks of life. The most frequently expressed regret was this: I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Not I wish I had worked harder, not I wish I had earned more. I wish I had lived a life true to myself. A 2021 cross-cultural study across 19 countries confirmed that the most common category of deep life regret was not action-based. It was inaction-based. Things people had wanted to do, become, or say, and had not. The world's most common regret is not failure. It is the life that almost happened. Knowing this does not automatically change behavior, because knowing and doing are separated by fear, specifically the fear of identity disruption. Dr. Robert Keegan at Harvard spent decades researching immunity to change, the phenomenon where people simultaneously want to change and are unknowingly preventing it. This immunity is not laziness. It is a protective mechanism built around preserving a stable identity. You want to speak up more. But speaking up risks being judged, so the immunity preserves the silence. You want to leave the relationship that stopped growing. But leaving risks confirming you are someone who fails at commitment, so the immunity preserves the staying. The way through is not to overpower the fear. It is to make the identity shift first, to begin acting from the person you are becoming rather than waiting until you feel like that person. Every person you admire for their courage did not feel courageous before they acted. They acted first. The feeling followed. So here is where everything closes. The life most people are living was not chosen in a single moment. It assembled itself across thousands of small defaults, deferred decisions, absorbed expectations, fears managed by staying still. And it can be rebuilt through the same process in reverse, not through one dramatic act. Through consistent, deliberate redirection, one choice made from the person you intend to become. The question is this: if the person you want to become were watching the decisions you made today, not your big decisions, but the small ones, the defaults, would they recognize themselves in you? The life you are going to live is being built right now. In the decisions you think are too small to matter. In the things you almost choose and pull back from. You already know which direction you need to move in. The only question left is what you are waiting for, and whether whatever that is will still feel like a good reason when you are looking back.